Andy Kim didn't mince words. After Americans were killed by federal agents, he said what millions are thinking. This administration is making us less safe, and it's time to fire the people responsible.
Mr. President.
The senator from New Jersey.
Mr. President, I rise today as we debate funding for the Department of Homeland Security. It's a debate that 100 Americans allowed into this chamber will have a chance to do. But that really is being had by millions of Americans across the country, in their living rooms, in their group chats, in the comments on social media. There are a lot of things that we debate here that fly under the radar, that maybe impact a lot of people but aren't on their minds. This, Mr. President, is on everyone's mind. Whether we write another check to fund the Department of Homeland Security isn't just front-page news, it is the thing that people who haven't picked up a newspaper in years are talking about. Why is that? It's because people can feel that something is wrong in this country, and they know it has to be stopped. People can watch the video of the murders of Renee Good and Alex Pretty at the hands of federal agents and see that something is wrong. And it isn't over. They can watch these videos of masked men roaming through neighborhoods or physically assaulting people, peacefully protesting, and see that something is wrong. And they're absolutely right in that feeling. How can you watch any of that and not see that it's wrong? I hear from people that I know, some friends of mine, that are telling me they're now carrying their passports around with them because they're afraid of getting stopped and targeted by federal agents. I've heard from constituents who are anxious, who don't feel safe leaving the house, are afraid about door knocks at their house, and are just afraid that this moment of fear will never end. The tragic irony of this is that we are nearly 25 years in from the establishment of the Department of Homeland Security. 25 years from another moment where people felt an incredible level of anxiety and unease. I was in college when 9/11 happened. It was a moment that led me towards public service. It was a crisis that brought me into a career in national security, working to keep our country safe. And one of the things I've learned is that safety isn't our ability to project force or the tools we have at our disposal. Those things can make us safe. But if they're used improperly, they can make us less safe, less secure. And that's exactly what we're seeing from this administration. It's what Donald Trump and Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, Kristi Noem are doing every day. They are using the tools that were meant to keep us safe and distorting them to grow their own power and fuel their own corruption. What we're debating here today is whether we should continue to fund their efforts to use these tools against the American people and for their own twisted agenda. And to that, there's a simple answer. We must say and vote no. We need to vote no on funding DHS as this bill currently stands because it's not going to make us more safe and secure. Everyone in America who has been carrying this feeling around with them for the past few days and weeks knows that. They know that they've been lied to by this administration. They know that the masked men flooding into our communities are not accountable to them. They know people like Stephen Miller, who I've often called and said that he is the most dangerous person in our country, is not accountable to them. And the American people are tired of it. They're tired of the lies. They see right through them. They're tired of feeling like they have no say in this horrible feeling of insecurity and uncertainty. How is it that in the richest, most powerful country in the world that we have this much unpredictability, this much anxiety that hangs over us? But that can end today. That can end right here. Because even though the millions and millions of people struggling to make sense of this moment aren't able to get into this chamber and have a vote, there are 100 of us who do, and who represent all the other Americans in this nation. There are things that this administration can do today to restore that sense of safety and security. For instance, they can pull ICE and CBP agents out of their operations in Minnesota, in Maine, de-escalate the fear that American communities are facing. The provocations are dangerous right now, and the concern of powder kegs of what's going to happen next. It is not that we see this in the rearview mirror with the murder and the killings of Alex Pretty and Renee Good. People are wondering, is this just the beginning? Is this going to continue, and for how long? Is it going to get worse? That is the fear that people are feeling, something that this administration can immediately bring down if they pull these agents out. This administration can also allow and clearly articulate the need for an independent investigation. Investigations into the murder of Renee Good, into Alex Pretty. Actually, in terms of all the 12 of the shootings that DHS agents since September of last year have conducted, that deserves the same level of transparency and accountability. And the reason why we need this is because there is no trust right now. There is no trust right now from the American people into having DHS or this administration as a whole investigate themselves. It is antithetical to our understanding of transparency and accountability if that is the case. So we demand true independent investigations. And this administration could fire their leaders who have clearly zero credibility with the American people right now. Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, Secretary Noem, and others who have purposefully weaponized our government for their own political agendas. The American people demand accountability. And forward movement as a nation in these troubled times cannot happen with these administrative officials still in power, still in their jobs. There are many other things we need to think through, but these are three things that can happen right now by this administration to show that we can try to turn a corner on this incredibly chaotic and dangerous moment for our country. But even if that all happens, we owe it to the American people to take a stand. We owe it to them to give them the security they deserve. And we owe it to them to vote no on this appropriations bill. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield back.
What made Andy Kim's speech so powerful wasn't anger, it was clarity. He started where the American people already are. This debate isn't confined to the Senate chamber. It's happening in living rooms, group chats, and comment sections across the country. People who haven't followed politics in years are paying attention now because they can feel that something is deeply wrong. Kim named that feeling without exaggeration. Fear, anxiety, uncertainty. Not abstract policy disputes, but people carrying passports out of fear they'll be stopped. Families afraid to answer their doors. Communities watching videos of federal agents killing civilians and asking themselves, is this going to keep happening? That's not security, that's instability. Kim drew a crucial historical parallel that cuts to the heart of the moment. The Department of Homeland Security was created nearly 25 years ago after 9/11, during another time when Americans felt unsafe and uncertain. Kim lived through that moment. It pushed him into public service and national security work. And what he learned is something this administration has either forgotten or never understood. Force alone does not create safety. Tools meant to protect people can just as easily terrorize them when misused. That's exactly what Kim argued is happening now. DHS, ICE, and CBP are being weaponized, not to keep Americans safe, but to expand political power, stoke fear, and shield corruption. And the people directing that effort, Kim said plainly, are Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, and Kristi Noem. This is where Kim's argument becomes unmistakably Democratic and deeply American. He didn't say abolish DHS. He didn't deny the need for border security or law enforcement. What he said was far more serious. You do not fund agencies that are actively harming the people they are supposed to protect. You do not write another blank check while Americans are being beaten, detained, and killed without accountability. Kim outlined concrete steps the administration could take right now to de-escalate the crisis. Pull federal agents out of Minnesota and other flashpoints. Stop provoking confrontations. Acknowledge the danger instead of inflaming it. Allow truly independent investigations into the killings of Renee Good and Alex Pretty, and into every DHS shooting since last September. Why independent? Because trust is gone. Kim said what so many Americans feel. There is no confidence left in this administration investigating itself. Transparency and accountability cannot exist when the accused control the process. And then he delivered the most consequential demand of all. Leadership must change.